All righty. Good morning. Good morning, Benton Harbor. It is Monday, 9 o'clock, 9:01 ish after 9. You are here, Chat with the Chief. We're here on every Monday. Good morning. Good to see everyone. Be seen, I should say. So we are on here today, and we are just kind of chewing the fat a little bit. Right now, thank goodness, there's only like one person on, so that's probably Mike. I had a guest that was supposed to come on, and we touched bases on Friday to confirm, and it was guaranteed to be there. And Monday, ghost. So we're going to be kind of freestyling today. Again, today's July 25th, 2022, and you are listening to Chat with the Chief. I'm Director Dan McGinnis with the Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety. And again, we're here every Monday discussing issues in and about the city of Benton Harbor. So it was a busy weekend. Actually, it was kind of nice because I do a lot of things, and one of which is coaching. I coach football and track, and we had a busy summer even after school was out. So that's actually done over with finally. Now I'm actually preparing to go out of town this weekend. So I'm trying to front load in my front of the weekend because this weekend I'm actually going to New York. My son is an athlete and he's being recruited by West Point, so we're going to visit West Point. That'll be probably Thursday, Friday, maybe either Saturday. So I'm looking kind of forward to that, but also the logistics of putting all that together and getting to New York. And of course, I don't fly because flying is dangerous. Even if I did fly, the tickets are astronomical. So anyway, so that's kind of what I'm doing. So kind of today, generally, I was kind of relying on my guests to kind of talk about some things, and so my mind is kind of blank today. So we're going to just kind of talk about generally. I think Commissioner Edwards is going to pop on with us when he gets the chance. He was kind of in transit. One thing here at the Public Safety Department, we are good at improvising, adapting, and overcoming. So, sometimes things don't go as they're supposed to. You got to change up, move on. So, actually, I got that from Deputy Director Clark, who's a retired military. It's one of a military kind of concept. I kind of built my kind of life around that because it applies to everything: family, church, job, school, whatever. Things go wrong, you just improvise, adapt, overcome. So that's what we're doing this morning. So I do want to speak about. So next week is August. July seems like it just flew by. Like July was like 2 days. Seemed like 2 days in the weekend, and now we're almost to August. But August is filled with a bunch of things that are happening, especially as city events. So on the first thing we have coming up on Tuesday, August 2nd, is National Night Out. National Night Out, what that is it's a national program that is built to have engagement with officers and the community, and it's on the same day every year. It's always the second Tuesday in August. Sometimes it's election day, sometimes it's not. So ours will be. We started ours about 6 years ago. And before there was in Berrien County, I think it was just St. Joe Township. I think Berrien Springs might have been another place that had a national night out kind of event. And we wanted to do that ourselves. And we partnered with Benton Township. So what's nice about our national night out, not only are we bringing citizens and the police together, we're bringing the two police departments of the 49022 together with all of our citizens. So it's been a tremendous success. We started out, we had our first national night out, we had probably about 300 to 400 people. The next year, double from there. So we have been, even in COVID, the last time we had it, we were still about 600 or 700 people. Generally, we got to the point where we're up to about 1,000. And then you might ask, how am I measuring this? Well, one of the big attractions to National Night Out is the department has a snow cone machine. And so we have this kind of station where we have actually, it's got so popular. We have a machine and then we get donated a second machine just kind of to keep up. So I kind of can get a ballpark idea of how many people we've had from the amount of snow cones that we make. And so we made the last time pre-COVID, we had made like 880 snow cones. That's a lot of ice. That's a lot of syrup. If you've ever been to National Night Out, you'll see the line at the snow cone machine. Also, um, not this last National Night Out, but the one before that, we had was one of my goals on my career bucket list was to have a dunk tank, and for me to sit into the dunk tank, dunk the director or dunk the chief. So that was really fun. We had about 100 people try to dunk me. Actually, it was about 6 or 8 of them actually got me. One thing, funny story about the dunk tank though. So we got the dunk tank, they delivered it, and the first thing we tried to do was fill it up with the water from the fire truck, the old fire truck that we replaced here 3 4 years ago, maybe 2 3 years ago. So we replaced, we put the water from the engine into the dunk tank. When you see the water that comes out of a fire engine when it's not going on the fire, it actually is looked all cruddy looking, really cruddy looking. So we empty that water and clean out the dunk tank, and then there's a hydrant that's right out there at the park. So we got hydrant water, fresh water, and put into the dunk tank. And what I learned is that when you have a dunk tank set up, you need to put the water in there and let it sit for some hours, so it will it'll get down to kind of outside temperature. So although it was a probably 80-degree day, the water was freezing. So I wasn't too messed up when a lot of people weren't able to kind of dump me in the water. Once you fall in there and you get in the water, of course, like going to the beach or the pool, then your body adjusts. But that water was cold. That was extremely, extremely cold. So our hope is to get the dunk tank back this year for this National Night Out. I'll be back in there if we get it. And then also the at the time was the Ryan Schoenfeld, who was the post commander of the Michigan State Police Niles Post. He's now the I forget they call it. He's like the second in charge of the district. He has said he would get into the dunk tank, so that'd be interesting to see. He's pretty tall, so I'm not sure where the seat is and where his natural, if he's standing up, might be the same. But so, anyways, we're looking to do that. For those who are interested, you want to come and try to dunk the chief, dunk the director, see how your arm is. That'd be great. One thing I will say is I talk a lot of trash, so when you're missing, I'm gonna be talking. So kind of my license to talk some junk while we're having some fun. So National Night Out has been a tremendous success. We have a great committee. It's actually led by Miss Artelia Martin and Jelena Powell. They live in or associated with Benton Manor. So we really, this is really kind of a great example, the epitome of community partnerships. You have the two police departments that have come together. You have the two communities of Benton Harbor and Benton Township coming together. We work through and follow the lead of the civilian leadership as far as the committee is made up of citizens. So it's really it's a great time, even when we're planning and we're always laughing and joking, and it's a good time. So we got that coming. So after that, and I can't speak a whole lot to it unfortunately because I don't know a lot about it and I don't have a flyer. But beginning on I think Wednesday or Thursday, it is going to be Riverfest. I'm sorry, it's going to be Friday. Friday, August 5th, 6th, and 7th will be Riverfest down at Yarborough Park, which is at the park at the roundabout at Empire and Riverview. I don't know a whole lot about Riverfest other than it is a tremendous idea. I think it was birthed out of Commissioner Sharon Henderson, I'm not sure I worked with her, so I don't want to be leaving anybody off, but I know she was the one last year that was the head honcho, took the lead. So that vision or that event came out of her vision, I believe. Again, please don't quote me on that. I don't know a whole lot about that. We helped and assisted, um, but I don't know as far as the planning. But I do know that she was there barking out orders and moving people around and getting stuff from us. So I'm assuming that she is that person. But anyway, she had a vision for Riverfest, and I guess apparently years ago there was one before, and I guess one defunct, so she reintroduced it. Ended up being a great success, and I love how we have commissioners now. You know, Sharon Henderson, Ethel Clark, Jerry Edwards, who not only are elected and sit in the seat up in the chambers, but they try to do things for their ward or for the community to attract some things in. We know that Commissioner Edwards works with the park, and that Commissioner Henderson, Riverfest, and some other things she does in her neighborhood. And I really appreciate that. And how the system actually works is, if there's an issue like where she lives, neighbors, they may contact her. She'll call or text or email me, give me what the issue is, so I can contact the citizen. And oftentimes we get resolution to that, and that's perfect. That's how things should work. We have elected officials that we've elected to be in positions to represent us. If we have concerns, go to those officials, and officials will bring to the city whatever department is necessary to get things taken care of. So she's really good at that. And we just want to support that as much as possible. Again, Benton Harbor is really growing, despite how, the certain articles will try to make Benton Harbor appear to be a certain way. The truth of the matter is we're blowing up. Downtown is blowing up. We have events coming in. People are wanting to come in and spend money in Benton Harbor, have events in Benton Harbor, establish businesses in Benton Harbor. Again, I don't know all as far as the economic development details, other than a little bit I get in reports and meetings. My pond is police work, so that's really what I focus on, public safety. But I do know that we have some developments coming. We got a $28 million development coming downtown a block away. That's going to be huge. It's developed by the developers that own currently or run River Terrace. But it's going to be, I think, apartments. It's going to be a full service grocery store, which we don't have downtown. That will be tremendous. And I think that, and I'm guessing, knock on wood, that this grocery store will not be like some of the other ones, the stores around the city, i.e., Car Towers Day, Fruit Haven, whatever, where you walk into the place and the first thing you smell is a stench. To me, I can't buy food where I walk in and the place smells to heck. So I think that'll give us an opportunity, especially Ben Harbor folks, to be able to have a solution for not having access or really accessible access to full service grocery store in our community. So that's happening downtown. Big development happening at Mercy Center. If you follow the commission meetings, you know that they had authorized pilot program actually for both of those projects. The one on Wall and the one on Mercy, where Mercy Hospital was that lot. And they asked for pilots, and what those are, what's called pilot stands for payment in lieu of taxes. And what that is a certain tax break that they get in order to help fund the development. So those were given, and city had quite a few pilots back in the day. We got away from them, but then we got away from development. So I was very happy that our commission saw the wisdom in allowing the pilots so that those projects can go forward. As we all know, there is a huge amount of need for housing in the 49022, really all Berrien County, but I'm only concerned about Benton Harbor / Benton Township. Huge need for housing. So I'm glad at the end of the day that will be met. With that being said, I want to make sure that people have issues in their particular neighborhoods. Or good morning, Shaquille. How you doing, sir? You dunk the director, deputy director. Yeah, we'll be in there in the dunk tank. If you what's I saying? Oh yeah, if you have an issue, contact us. We try to keep a record of type of complaints that come in. For example, if you have a nuisance uh, home in your area, I get information about houses that have high amount of activity, or not every house is a drug house that people complain about, but maybe it's a house where there's a lot of partying, young folks in and out. Seems like a lot of complaints that I get into my office is that people are frustrated because other people will come and visit neighbors and then block their yards or driveways, have problems getting in and out. When they try to ask the person to move their car, is met with resistance. So that is obviously issues that we would like to help deal with before they escalate. So, just kind of recap for us, public safety department is actually it's three departments by our charter. So the public safety department is police, fire, and of course we are public safety, so we are fully integrated. So police and fire are the same, but we are police, we're fire, and we're code enforcement. Used to be known as inspections. So we are that's all part of public safety. So housing inspections, rental inspections, actually building inspections. That's all part of our department. So public safety is huge. Of course, we have the biggest budget in the city, and actually we have quite a bit of responsibility, biggest staff. Um, so that's what public safety is. So if there's ever an issue that you have, you can call kind of the same number, because we have one front door number, which is our administrative assistant, Alana Scales. She's relatively new, doing a good job so far. She's real funny. At least she thinks she is. She thinks she's funny, but she's entertaining in the fact that she thinks she's funny. So she's probably writing down notes. You might be listening now. She gonna let me have it, but sometimes the truth hurts. So anyway, that's the front door. If you ever want to call the public safety department, our number is 927-8423. That's a direct into Alana. She is the hub of, I'm gonna put this on here. She is the hub of the public safety department. So she fields the police questions, the fire questions, and the code compliance questions. She's all usually out running around trying to get things done. A lot of requests that she gets. So I'm going to type real quick our number so people can have that. And also here, if you're listening, if you have a question, a comment, concern, this is Chat with the Chief, which is now you put it in the chat, and we're on YouTube and our department public safety Facebook page. So you can send me a chat. I'm gonna type the number up real quick here for people to be able to have. I'll get into the right spot, of course. Also, very important, this just came to me as I'm doing this. Again, we've had some questions, some issues with dispatch. And I was at a place, I went to check out a complaint. Somebody contacted me, and they wanted to verify the dispatch number for us. And the number that they said was, I don't know what that was. I don't know what that went to. So I'm also going to give the non-emergency number to dispatch. Of course, if you have an emergency, call 911. But if you have a non emergency, then you'd call this number. So here's our public safety number. If you need to call it, 927-8423. They'll get Lana. She's very nice, very pleasant. She doesn't usually try to crack her corny jokes when she's talking to the citizens. Is only when she's talking to me. She's gonna let me have it when we get done. So if she comes busting to that door over there, just ignore it. So anyway, here is our public safety direct dial number that you can get. So one of the things, citizens, is that we do get a lot of complaints about people call the city and can't reach nobody. Unfortunately, that is true. We have, because of the here, Lana, she's listening. She did actually give us the dispatch number. That is it. 269-93-3060. Thank you, Miss Spencer Scales. You're wonderful. I was saying. Oh, so I was just saying. Dispatch. That's the number there. That's our number. Yeah. So people say they can't. They have a hard time reaching people at the city. It's a couple things. One, quite honestly, we're short staffed everywhere. But two, we have a phone system that's really, really goofy. And when we have all the changes, especially with staff, sometimes things don't get updated. And I've heard people say I've called and it's either rang, or I've left messages. No one's gotten back to me. And what we have found, unfortunately, we apologize for this, citizens. What we have found is that, Commissioner's on, that there have indeed been voicemail mailboxes that not assigned to anybody. So yeah, that's a problem. We are working on it. And here's brother Shaquille. He's one of the ones that's extremely frustrated with trying to get answers. Oh, Commissioner Henry, not Henry, but Jerry was on. He popped back off. I was about to get to you, Shaquille. We're trying, man. I know when I see things, especially with citizens in meetings, I'll at least get up, give them my card, talk to them, try to get what the issue is. And quite frankly, at some point, we need to have a discussion on: do we go back to AT&T, or do we stay with the current solution? I suppose it could possibly work, but it's been fraught with, like, right now, my desk phone doesn't even work anymore. Don't know why. If I connect my desk phone to my computer, it goes haywire, doesn't work, makes the computer not work. So that's it. So one of the things here on Chat with the Chief, we try to be transparent, and if we're wrong, we're wrong. If we have an issue, we have to own up to it. It is absolutely an issue with people trying to contact the city. That's true. That being said, I can only control what I can control as far as public safety. If you call that number, you'll get somebody. So again, she's very good at returning calls and follow up. So she probably back. She got the thing she does with her hair, like she does that all the time. So she probably back there doing that while I'm talking. So let me see if Commissioner Edwards will come back on. I think he thought that I didn't see him, but I was kind of in the middle of talking, and as you guys can see, I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. So let me shoot him a quick text. Okay. So, public safety number. I know this is kind of like random day. I want to make sure that you're able to contact us. So we want to hear kind of about everything. And if we have something that's a concern to you that is not necessarily in the public safety purview, then I will forward that to the appropriate party. Here's some things we want to get information on, guys and gals. If you live in the city, again, if you live in the city, I can't control Benton Township. If you live in the city, I've got some recent complaints about lots that people believe the city owns that are kind of trashed or have not been cut. Let us know. Unfortunately, the city has like hundreds of lots that we own that we have to take care of. If you have a lot in your area, contact us. Even if it's not our lot, we need to get that on our books to start the process of contacting the owner, requesting that they cut that lot. And if they don't do it in a certain amount of time, we will go in as a city and remediate that, cut that basically for them, and send them a bill for it. So that's very important. I think people are at a point where this is what bothers me, is we are just accustomed to kind of seeing crappy lots, overgrown grass here, an abandoned house here. The other thing, there's a resident that came to last commission meeting, and she had asked about a couple of things on her block, including a burnt out house that's been standing there for years. We are currently working on a list of all the houses that need to be raised, need to be torn down. Unfortunately, because we've had, again, we're transparent, we tell the truth. We haven't had a lot of stability in the code compliance department, because we've had people who come, get experience, and leave. That seems to be the mantra for Benton Harbor. They'll come here, get the experience, go someplace else. Well, now we have our own people in place, and they're trained and being trained, fully credentialed. One of the things we need is stability, especially in code compliance. And when you see a lack of stability, we start to see how things are kind of looking now. So we are building a list of all properties that need to be addressed as far as demolition. And so we're working with Chief Maurice Bruce, who is the Chief of Code Compliance, also our city attorney. We have some of those processes currently in going through the courts now. So I know right now we have current list of 50. We all know there's way more than that. So if you have in your neighborhoods burnout homes or abandoned houses, please give us a call. Talk to code compliance or talk to our assistant, Ms. Lana Scales, and we'll make sure that that gets on the list. That either Chief Bruce or somebody from code compliance will contact you and start the ball rolling on that. We probably have in the neighborhood of probably a couple hundred houses that need to be raised. The problem is in Benton Harbor, we don't have an insurance requirement for property owners. Unfortunately, the city of Benton Harbor is roughly 70% rental. So, unfortunately, when things happen, people will just walk away from the property. So, if there's, say, a minor fire, or if there's electrical work that needs to be done that we cite, or we indicate, hey, during the course of an inspection, this, and this need to be fixed. If it's more than they want to spend, they'll just walk away from it. And that's why you see such a large number of vacant, abandoned houses that need to be demolished. Houses are like people. They have, they life. When people are in them, houses are alive. If people aren't in them and they're not being used and utilized, they'll start to deteriorate. If you take your body, not feed it, not put anything in it, just lay it in the corner, you ultimately will also deteriorate and die. So that's the issue. Here he is. There he is. So that's the issue we have. Hey, brother Jerry, how are you? You can adjust it there.
Hey, Chief.
Hey, how
Some
you
reason
doing,
or other
sir?
it's hard to hear. I mean, yeah,
Okay.
it's hard for me to hear.
Yeah, see you in the car.
Probably by phone.
Can you hear us?
Uh,
Okay, that might be phone. So what are you up to this morning? No, can't hear very well. Huh? Not sure. Again, we were improvising, adapting, overcoming. Usually we do all this kind of sound stuff before we start, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna blink him out to figure that out. But since my guest showed me how, I had to improvise, so we didn't get a chance to do the kind of the sound and camera check before. So, Jerry, keep working at it, and maybe it'll work out. So, anyway, so one of the biggest blights in our city are these abandoned houses. These houses, we got some houses. Again, there's been a lot of work in co-compliance that had not been done for probably like the last 10 to 15 years. So now we have the current administration is trying to go through and make sense of, organize, get processes, and start to get things moving to make the city look better. So that's what we're doing. Again, if you have an issue in reference to some type of blighted area in your neighborhood, maybe it's a lot, maybe it's an abandoned house. We got some houses that, because we've allowed, like, say, fence lines to be overgrown with weeds and shrubs and trees, You have some abandoned houses in the city that you literally can't even see because they're blocked by all this humongous vegetation. So once we get code compliance to where we want it to be, we won't have situations where vegetation grows through a fence, takes over, blocks out the vision. How many people have been driving in Benton Harbor? You get to a corner and then you can barely see around it because there's so much overgrowth um, that is on a property that happens to be on the corner. Let me see here. Let me see what Citizen Rich here says. Check the box for debris, trash, rubbish when that exists. Trash clogs gutters. Mowing over trash just makes smaller pieces harder to pick up. Thank you, Mr. Rabbers, for that point. That's a good point. So the city, if it's a city-owned lot, and actually even if it's not, if you have a lot in your area and you got some people coming to Ben Harbor, they don't care. They'll just cut. They'll cut over trash. They'll leave shredded trash, shredded bottles in a lot, and they'll take off. They'll have grass on the sidewalk, grass in the street, trash in the street. If you see that, again, contact us because we will make contact. If it is our contractors that are doing that, we will make sure that that's addressed. If it's a property owner that has contracted someone to cut their lot and they're cutting it that way, we will send them a nice nasty gram. So the last thing we need is to have a lot that needs to be cut. It's got a bunch of trash on it. The people don't pick up the trash and then cut over that the garbage and debris will make it look worse. And oftentimes they want to charge extra for that. That might be the case, but you would think that you would have more pride in the work that you do than not. So, but I think also, and we said this before, people treat Ben Harbor differently. They'll come in the city and do stuff here that they wouldn't do in St. Joe. They wouldn't do it in St. Joe Township. They wouldn't do it in Barron Springs, but they try and get away with it here. Matter of fact, we have addressed people for various things throughout the years, different things, different places. People coming to the city from outside the city, trying to dump something or, parking on the lawn or putting their truck in the Santa Jean clock. And when the officers ask them, or the code compliance officer asks them, hey, would you do this in St. Joe? Their answer always is no, we wouldn't do that there. They wouldn't stand for that. So I'm not going to get into what that could possibly indicate. But that's purely disrespectful, if nothing else. So again, I've had people tell me that out of their own mouth. Other officers have, other code compliance officers have. So we have to demand the respect that we deserve, but we have to be able to do the job. And right now, people are frustrated that we're not doing the job that well. So I'm here to tell you, as far as what I can control, police, fire, code compliance, we're got systems and issues we're trying to put in place to alleviate some of the issues. Again, being able to contact us. Another example of our phone system that we had to work out. We've gotten people said, well, we try to contact code compliance and we can't reach anybody. Or we try to reach Chief Bruce, we can't reach him. Well, the way it's designed is all the calls kind of come in right to our assistant. So when she would try to transfer it to Bruce, like a voice for a voice message, it would circularly come back to her. So like it was almost impossible to leave Bruce a message because every time she would try to do it, it would come back to her. I'm not sure if we got that taken care of. Shaquille has. He says very frustrating. All caps. I think if he had the ability, that would be all caps in like 36 font. I get it, brother. That's why we're talking about it. I can only control what I can control, but we gotta do better. Because sometimes there could be some stuff that might be time sensitive. So again, 927-8423. If you have an issue with police, fire, code compliance, so that we can get it addressed. And I'm hoping that we have the issue taken care of where you can talk to Bruce in code compliance. So I guess right now, if there's any questions or comments or concerns, suggestions, I'm open to suggestions. Again, today I'm kind of freestyling because my guest sold me out. So I'm gonna let him have it. We're really good friends. I'm gonna let him have it, and then we'll have probably coffee. Um, we'll move on. Uh, and then next week we will have August is here. I mean, school. Uh, I like this. All right, so here's again. We're transparent. Here's Miss Hattie Mae Peterson. Y'all are on live, but don't answer those damn calls. Well, we're talking about that. We're trying to do better, Miss Peterson. So uh, this is a point of what I'm talking about. Here is chat with the chief is not about just kind of warm and fuzzy, and we put out stuff that is only happiness. People are frustrated. I think Miss Peterson is showing that she's frustrated. We know Brother Turner is frustrated, and we're trying to do better. Here we go. We got big hole in the sidewalk in the 100 block of Hastings. I'm glad it's headspeth long that you brought this up. So in the last commission meeting, and I'm writing this down. So 100 block of Hastings sidewalk. So there seems to be kind of on this discussion of not answering questions. Um, in the last commission meeting, actually the last two commission meetings, there were some citizens who asked about having some trees cut and their sidewalks uh, fixed. And I haven't looked back in the ordinance to see if it was changed, but what I remember it reading was that the homeowner is responsible for their sidewalk, but we haven't been consistent with that over the years. So, I lived in the city. I had to get my side when I contacted the city. They said it was on me. I had got my sidewalk fixed. So there seems to be some confusion, and then the problem is, just like you're saying here, is that we don't get answers to the questions that the citizens bring. So I don't think anyone said either A, you are responsible for fixing your own sidewalk, or B, the city is responsible and here is the process. And again, that's outside my purview. I don't work with fixing sidewalks and streets. Um, so that is something that I hope that we do better on. Again, I can't speak to that. Here we go. So we said there's a tree that fell someplace and broke something. Do you have? So I know that from that big storm, Hastings, there are still trees that are down. Public Works is still working on that. That I do know. If you have a location where that is, I'll make sure that they get that on their list. I also do know that starting tomorrow, because of there's quite a few trees down. Public Works did an outstanding job coming in that night of the storm and clearing some roads, but they're going to get some assistance from the county. I believe starting tomorrow, they'll come in with a wood chipper and a crew to help with the volume of cutting down and removing those fell trees. So that is coming. Tomorrow, I was speaking with the captain from the Berrien County Emergency Management Department, and he's the one that notified me that the county public works is coming in to assist the city with some removal of some of those things. So we definitely want to make sure we get everything addressed. Let me see here. What we got here? That's the current policy, but old man Little sent me a different policy. But then you were told if we don't, it's a violation. Shaquille, I unfortunately I don't know what happens over there. I can only do what I can do. We do need some clarity on this. I was going to ask the manager, who happens to be out on vacation, on our policy, our position on sidewalk repair and trees being trimmed. So, because I know some people are talking about trees that are on kind of like the tree lawn. Who owns those? And quite frankly, I'm not even clear on that. Is the city tree lawn, or is it the citizens' home tree lawn? Is the tree lawn part of their property, or is it the city property? I do not know, and I don't even know that question, and never have had that answered. But if a tree is in your yard, that is yours. That is yours, and it's okay to for us to say, "Hey, citizens, this is what the ordinance says. If it's on your property, it's your responsibility." But right now, we're not saying anything. So I think that we will get to the point where we're at least providing people the answers that they're asking. I do understand, like in a committee meeting or commission meeting, I should say, that you don't really necessarily have time to kind of with the back and forth banter as far as the issues, but we do have to do a better job as far as is um, getting answers to people. So these are kind of coming in now. Here is, I'm not sure. I think somebody has this just did a fake thing. Can we discuss about trees running into trains nearby the sidewalk and causing casualties? I don't know what that. I don't know. We don't have any trees, any trains in the city, so I'm not sure what that is. Okay, so here, this is Kim Jordan McMillan. Trees on the tree lawn belong to the city. You know what? I'm gonna take your word for that because I am ignorant to that particular topic. So I am going to make sure I get an answer. And actually, what I'll do is I'll post the answer on our Facebook page, the what you're on now, Ben Harbor Department of Public Safety Facebook page. When I find out what the city's position is or verify what you're saying. Trees on tree lawn is city. Okay. Thank you for that. Another great suggestion. Statement of clarification on bulletin board near stairs at City Hall. So that's a great idea. And Rich, quite honestly, I wish we had a better system for notification in City Hall. I believe with the upgraded system that's coming, if it was approved, should alleviate that. If you've been in the police department, you see we have a monitor when you walk in that flashes some things like the officers, pictures and names, phone numbers, some other information. That's what we need in City Hall. So when you come in, for one, here's where you go. City Hall is, although it's small, it's kind of confusing because there's really no signs that tell you what office is what. And then if you want to go to the clerk's office / the assessor's office or / the econ development office, it's all one spot with one door. And you wouldn't know that unless you have experience or you get somebody and they tell you. Also, we got one office you walk in, the blinds are very rarely up, so you can't tell if they're open or not. Again, that's not my bailiwick, but you are absolutely correct. If there was something there that would direct citizens or just a simple board, hey, here's the contact for this. If you have issues, like I'm telling you, if you have issues with blight in your neighborhood or abandoned homes, here's the number to contact. We need the same thing for City Hall. So here I love this. Mr. Devontae Tadahead Jones. Can we solve some murders while we're at it? Bro, that's a great question because here is the issue that we have. The reason why we have unsolved murders, and this is a can of worms that you've opened, is that we have people who will not step forward and say anything. That's the reason. It's not about, I've heard people make things, how come police ain't doing this? We can only do what the information that we get. So I know for a fact, again, going back to Memorial Day, there were no less than 800 people outside. Now, I've heard various versions, third and fourth party, of people who've talked to people who saw people shoot, but no one has stepped up and spoken of what they saw. So even if one person, we can get a chain reaction. So we can't, there's no magical crystal ball that tells us person A did this murder. It's the people. We've had people who tell officers, do your dang job, or I'm not telling you blank. Well, then if you don't tell us, how can we do our job? It is all predicated on getting information from citizens who care more about their community than some code of not saying anything, which, let me get into that. This is a great point made by Pastor McAfee. We got this no snitching thing, which is not necessarily accurate for what's going on here in Benton Harbor. Here's what snitching is. Snitching is, as an example, me and say Mike Clark, we sell drugs. We have a drug operation. We sell drugs together. Mike gets popped, get a little heat on. He then tells on me. I then now get charged ultimately, whatever. That's snitching. What snitching is not is Mike and I are standing up at Sunny Spot, shots ring out, end up shooting him. I see it. I don't say anything. That's not snitching. Because with snitching, people stand in agreement to maybe sell drugs or maybe commit a robbery or do some type of Ponzi scheme. When you got people agreeing to do something, then they're in agreement. But usually people don't agree to be shot or murdered. So when I see somebody murdered, I should say something. And the reason why this is a circular perpetuation of that is because you people aren't saying anything. We've made it glamorous. We're living up to the rap culture for that makes it sound good or whatever, and no one's saying anything. So about 80% of the homicides that we had, at least in the city, I can't speak for township, but I'm guessing it's the same. We got witnesses who will not step forward and say anything. That's the problem. That's why we have unsolved murders. And actually, in the future, in August, we're going to have a show specifically for. I've been trying to get some survivors of gun violence to come on the show. Of course, it's extremely hard to deal with that. But let me tell you, and I want to be very, very clear with this. When people say the police ain't doing nothing or the police don't care, let me tell you this. All right. Let me tell you this. I myself have had 2 people in my family murdered. I've had a brother who's been murdered. I've had a cousin that's been murdered. Do not ever tell me, at least in Ben Harbor, that we don't care about solving murder cases. That is an absolute falsity. All right. So I feel very strongly about it. We should not have people walking around. We got mothers and fathers. I just got a text right now from a father of a murder victim. Again, don't tell me that we ain't trying to work to solve these cases. All we need somebody to step up and say, I saw Pookie do it, I saw Juju do it, or whatever, and get them off the streets. But when we don't get them off the streets, that emboldens them to keep doing what they're doing because no one's saying anything. Back in the day, at least shootings were at least at night. Now they're rolling up in broad daylight in front of people, doing these shootings or shootouts, and then casually, not with alacrity, not in a hurried moment, casually walk away, get in their car and drive away because they know no one's going to say anything. That's the problem. There's more of us than it is of them. If we take back our city, we should be in good shape. Here's the truth of the matter. Policing a community is not the police's responsibility. It's the citizens of that community that set the norms and the goals for the community so that we are on the same page. And all we are as police are the extension of the will of the people. Right now, the will of the people are saying we're all right with shootings and murders because we ain't going to say nothing. That's a problem. And I can show you video of parties where people are standing out with guns on their hip, in their hand, and they're drinking, and girls they're just having fun. It's a good old time. We're here. So let me catch up here on some of these comments. They're rolling in now. Trees and homicides we talking about. It's a good conversation. Blighted homes, mattresses everywhere. Okay, 1101 Union. What else we got here? I mean, where are we at here? Third one is sign. What's this question? And I put these questions on. I'm not really reviewing. I don't have a delayer, so I can't read them and say I don't like that one. The police may be doing something, but what is the fire department doing? Because there's no way they couldn't. My cousin died in a house fire. They stood around looking dumb like they were trained as if they didn't know what to do. I'm not sure about that. If you're referring to, and I don't want to get into that with names, but if you're referring to the one, she didn't die in a fire. And that's another thing. It's like we want to have our own narrative. The autopsy report, if you might want to FOIA it, it's available. It says very clearly died before the fire. So that was not an issue. Then they tried to make an issue with the hydrants. That was not the case. So, and I'd be more than willing to, again, here's the number here, more than willing to discuss that with you. So in our fire department, we want to talk about the fire department. So we've been public safety for about 11, 12 years now. Our fire department, quite frankly, is probably the best in Barron County. We have training. We have our own fire academy. We got brand new equipment. We're even replacing a new engine. We have top-notch training. Not only do we train our officers and new firefighters, but we train people from other counties and now other states. So we have a top-notch public safety department, even with us being police and fire. So we've come a long way there. Now I will say that when we had transferred to fire, it wasn't much of a plan, so we were kind of doing it as we went. But now we're in a spot now where we're in a good place. So again, my heart goes out to that situation, but the facts are the facts. Here's another one. Every time there's a bad storm, the trees on tree lawns break, often streets and fences. Yeah, because we have a lot of trees that are extremely old. And I saw this past storm, they snapped like toothpicks, which I think we need to probably do a better job of trimming the trees that are on the tree lawn. So again, let me kind of put it in perspective for you. Again, not making any excuses for public works. But before, remember, we were in receivership for many years, meaning the state came in and took over and they brought in an emergency manager. And the emergency manager, his whole job was to save the city money, period, no matter what. So public works, when I first worked here, or started here, I should say, had about 28 employees. 28 employees in public works. I remember they used to cut trees. They would cut alleys. They were filling potholes. Sometimes they were repairing sidewalks, depending on, of course, where we were, who was in charge. They had all these things that they were doing. Public works now is about 4 to 6 people. So you got 4 to 6 people doing what 28 did, and they're still responsible for the same responsibilities. There's still trees to be trimmed. There's still alleys to be cut back. There's still potholes to be filled. There's still parks to be cut. So again, I don't make any excuses, but I want you at least to have a framework of how things have came to be. So yeah, the city, we're lacking in some areas. I'm gonna be honest with you. Just it is what it is. But I think we need to at least say, citizens, we know we got some issues in some areas, and here is what we're doing to address those issues. So I think with that being said, with the scale crew, then on top of that, they added trash. So you got public works who didn't have to do trash back in the day and had the 28 people. Now they got the 4 to 6 of them, and I think a couple of them are running trash trucks. So, and I think there's been some co-work with some people that work in the water department. Again, I don't know a lot about how that is because, again, if it's not public safety, I don't worry about it. So, you know what? I don't want to get into that. So, kind of going back again, I'll put it here. McAllister raised my mom. Yeah, the autopsy report. So, I guess that is kind of, we can agree to disagree on that. Again, as unfortunate as a situation as that was, there was not much we could have done for her. So, what else we have here? Looking at the comments. I thank you for the comments, for them coming in. 1101 Union. Okay. This actually been Shaq, but there are citizens that do help out with the city manager. Shaq, stop, man. Stop cracking out on the manager and the assistant city manager. They'll get it. Well, let's just remain prayerful that they'll get it. So one of the things is we got to kind of prop them up and support them. I think the main thing is let's get some solutions. Well, I will say I appreciate that. One thing, well, I do got Shaq on here, is one of the things in August, there's a lot of things going on, but on the 27th of August, there's going to be a cleanup. and he's helping with that. That is spearheaded by Commissioner Clark Griffin. Going to be a cleanup of the Fourth Ward and some other things. So, Shaq, before we get out of here, maybe you're a master at typing like big paragraphs real fast. What's going to happen on the 27th so people can know? Um, Here's a comment here. I am not familiar with this one. Mr. McMullen, when was this one, and where is that at? Because my guess is somebody probably knows about that. In here, although I'm showing these comments, I don't like to say people's names just for the sake of respect for the victims and the families. So, last thing I'll do, I'm gonna put this number back up. If you have any questions or issues that dealing with public safety, police, fire, inspections, this is our number. That's the front door number to the department. You can call. And again, I said I was going to also give you. I'm gonna give you again the number to the non-emergency number to dispatch. All right. Here. Let's see. 1 second. Let me see. That one, and give you this one. This is a non-emergency number to dispatch. We have Central Dispatch in Marion County, 983-3060. 983-3060. Of course, it's 269. So, so last thing here, you got that non-emergency number. Here's information on the Fourth Ward cleanup / fair, August 27th. Block cleanup and community resources. All residents are encouraged to help. It's going to be from 12 p.m. to 4. You see it on social media. There are flyers. Of course, you can contact Shaquille, or you can contact Commissioner Ethel Clark Griffin. And we will be helping. Also, we'll be there. Public safety will be helping also there with that resource fair / cleanup. So, that being said, this has been, again, we started with my guest didn't show up. It's kind of freestyling. It actually turned into a very, very good discussion. And appreciate the comments. And as you see, other than there was one person on here just being ridiculous, saying some really crazy stuff. But I show comments and we talk about them. So I do try to be mindful of names and situations, to be respectful. But one thing about Chat with the Chief is this is not warm and fuzzy and only talk about stuff that is sterile and only bright spots. There's some things, again, we've talked about lack of communication with the city. We talked about the phone system. We talked about issues as far as getting rid of blight. We're owning those things, at least from a public safety perspective. We're owning those things to fix those. And I believe that although things will take time, all residents want to know is that A, they're being heard, and B, their concerns will be addressed. So that's where we are. So you have listened to Chat with the Chief. I got one last one here, Rich. Clarification, please, on storm sewer cleaning, debris removal to allow puddles to drain. Some have said cleaning is illegal. If so, we really need to do better on litter debris. I don't think cleaning storm drains is illegal. Again, I'll write that down too, because that will help the infrastructure from flooding. So, all right. Well, Ben Harper, I appreciate this. This has been a good show, although it was started kind of totally random. next week we'll have on one of Benton Harbor's own, O'Shea Jackson will be on with us, and he's going to talk. We'll talk about what he does and his perceptions of the city, and what he is the proprietor of Benton Harbor Community News on Facebook. So I look forward to having him next week. That'll be next week's show. I think that one, I'm pretty sure he's going to show up. So next week, same time, same channels on Facebook. It's the Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety page, and the City of Benton Harbor YouTube channel. Till next time, next week, you guys be blessed. Have a good week. Again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can, for public safety, you can call the numbers and let us know. But until next week, Benton Harbor, be good to you, each other, and yourselves.